This video is going to be a product showcase for the Garden Gatherings bundle. I'm going to tell you why I bought it, and I'm going to show you some samples that I made with it and give you some ideas for how you can use this bundle or a set that has the features of this bundle. So I got this one particularly because I like the long stems in the stamps and the fact that it is a two-step stamp set, so I can come in and do some variation in coloring by combining the flower stamp with the stem stamp. The other reason I got this is because it has a vase. Once you add flowers and a vase, oh my gosh, that just opens up lots of possibilities for creating a variety of different arrangements. This one was fairly unique in that it's got these other two little stamps, which are intended to be water in the bottom of the vase. And before I buy a stamp set, I always look at what the sentiments are. This one has happy birthday, which is the most common reason that people in the US send cards. It has another stamp that says the best is yet to come. Well, gosh, that could be for a new job. It could be for moving to a new town. It could be for heading off to college or graduating college or turning 13. Or there's all kinds of reasons where that one could become a useful stamp. A new parent. And then this one that says you give me hope. And I'm going to show you something I did on one card with the sentiment down here. So 3 simple sentiments. The sentiments were not the reason I got this stamp set. I also got this stamp set because it is a bundle, because it has coordinating dies. Now some of these dies, like this one, are a framelit in that it's intended to frame a stamped image, and other dies are standalone dies. So we have some over here that are just extra flowers. They don't actually go with a stamp. So here's the dies, just as all cut out so you can see what they do. These 3 tall ones are the framelits that are going to cut out these 3 stamps. In addition, you have one more long stem over here that just cuts out an extra leafy shape. And look at that extra little detail, that little line that's in there. So this adds an opportunity for some fun layering. This is a framelit that will cut out that vase. So here you can see the stamp and the framelit cut out, but you don't have to actually stamp it because the dies for the 2 vases look fine cut out without being stamped. And then here's your water, and here's what it looks like when you layer the water. And like I say, you've got these extra 3 little flowers, and there's all kinds of fun things you can do with the flowers. It is a 2-step stamp set, so here's what it looks like when you combine different colors for the stems, but in fact you don't actually have to combine, or excuse me, don't actually have to add the flower stamps to them, because this would look great all by itself. So let's take a look at a couple of cards. Here's one that is the 2-step stamp set. Very simple, easy way to use the stamps in the stamp set. Adding different color to the stems and a fun little bow there. Here it is with the color coming from, on these I added color to my clear block. I stamped my clear block in the ink pad to pick up the color, moved that block alone over to my paper and got 3 blocks of color, and then I just stamped the base and the greenery on top of it. And you can see that it's this stamp by itself, and it's this stamp with no flowers on it. It looks great all by itself. And here's where I said I used this stamp, but all I did was stamp ink up just the word hope. So it became hope on each of these 3. Again, it's this stamp alone without any flowers on it. And then for the splattering up there, I took my marker, which I didn't bring one in with me, but the action looked like this. I put my finger out, I took my marker, and I just went like this with my marker and got splattering on the paper. Turned out pretty cool, right? I love the look on this one. All right, I've kind of forgotten what's in this stack here. I have to peek. Let's see. Okay, I'm going to come down here. So I said it's got these 3 extra flowers that you can use to add some layering, but you don't have to put any greenery or stems with it. The flowers look good all by themselves. Well, here's the greenery, this one right here. Just added to fill in the space, but I just die cut a bunch of the flowers by themselves. Before I move on off of this card, the flower centers, you can notice down here, on this flower, there is a hole in the middle of the die cut. So I covered up that hole with some gems, and I noticed that the gem fell off of that one. So note to self, note for you, it's the adhesive on there was a dimensional, and then the bling was self-adhesive, but apparently not self-adhesive enough. So be careful when you're doing that. Make sure you've got good enough adhesion on it. What's next? Okay, we'll save that one. Let's go over here. So playing around with these things, I wanted you to see that so here you can see what it looks like with the stem and the vase, and here's what it looks like when you add the water stamp. So that blue is the water stamp. You're limited in the vase to the height of the stamp. That's how deep the water can be. Remember I said I bought this to play. So then I started playing around with this. You guys, I had so much fun with this stamp set. It's just a play toy. So I brought out my marker, and of course as soon as you use a marker, you can make the water level any depth that you want. And then I thought, well, what if I start playing with some dies? Don't need this. So this is vellum. So I die cut vellum, and then I also die cut some water and glued it on here so that you would be able to see the stems through the vellum. And of course you could turn it either way that you want. I felt that putting the cardstock behind was more like looking through a vase to see the water. But now my brain and reality kicks in here. If it really is water, then I ought to be able to see the stems through it. And so then I just kind of played around with options. But you know what? A vase doesn't have to be clear and see-through. The vase can be opaque too. That opens up an opportunity for so many different kinds of papers and cardstock. So here is a card, and most of these cards I made, this one I got as a trade card from, not from people I know. It was a mail-in trade, so this one is from someone named Lisa Schultz. Very pretty, very simple, two-step stamping, and die cut that vase out of gold. Isn't that pretty? Just love the look on this one. Oh, that one. That was a little overkill. I did this one. Let's see what else is on here. Let's go to two simpler ones first. We'll come back to that pretty one. So here is one that I die cut out of white, just plain white, lovely white vase, opaque vase. And then I raised it up on dimensionals. So see down there? So it's raised up, which means I can die cut these stems, and I can die cut, stamp and die cut this piece here, and slip those all underneath the vase, which is raised up. And then instead of stamping the flowers for these positions, I can come back and glue on the die cuts for those positions. So there is a really fun card. You could put designer paper back here. You could put another piece of cardstock. I put a bunch of strips of cardstock. You can texture emboss it or not, as you choose. Here's the same card, just in a different color combination. But while I have it out, what I want to show you is look at the base. Just like that one that was in the gold embossing, this one is also shiny. So what I did on this one, no stamping, I just die cut it, but before I die cut it, can you see the shine on the piece of paper? I just covered my piece of paper with packing tape. Covered it with packing tape, and then I die cut it. So now I've got this shiny surface over here. I use that trick a lot. I love the look of it. And then, now this one that I haven't turned over yet, I experimented with what if I stamp on it and then die cut it. So I just random stamped the flower, this one right here, just random stamped the flower, covered it with packing tape, and then die cut it. Very gorgeous, right? That would look so pretty. And then I said, well, what if I use colored cardstock? And I took this stamp and I random stamped the top part of it. And then we've got a white gel pen. And I just went in and added some little white gel pen to it, and then my packing tape. And look at that vase. You guys, the stamps that let me play so much. I had so much fun with this thing. And then the flowers that were in it were this one with this stamp up here. So there's another card idea. And then I played around with, well, what if I die cut the vase and then come back in, and we have an impression plate, and I layered this die, not die cut, just the die itself, on top of the vase, and I ran it through with the impressions plate, and I got this mark on it. Now it kind of looks like something comes from the Southwest, like some pottery special thing where the artist took a stylus and made an impression in it. I was just having fun, guys. This was a totally fun stamp set for me to play with. I hope that gave you some ideas for what you can do with layering flower dies, two-step stamping, layouts for using flowers and vases and long-stemmed stamps. And once again, this is the Garden Gatherings stamp and die bundle that is available now in 2026, summer of 2026. So message me any questions and leave some comments about some of these cards and your ideas for using a vase and layering flower dies on a card. I'm Katie Johnson. Thanks for watching. And if you want to see more stuff like this, make sure you follow my Facebook page. I'm Stamp Lady Katie on Facebook.